The long and awaited Overwatch 2 finally arrived last month, leading the charge with its brand new PvE campaign. Oh wait, never mind, that's not coming till later, but that's cool, the multiplayer was all the hype anyways. Fuck! Launch shenanigans aside, Overwatch 2 currently exists as a way to add more aggressive monetization, with the scapegoat of it now being free to play, and to remind people that yes, Overwatch still exists. But don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. The change to 5-player teams and the reduced amount of CC abilities make the game just a lot more fun to play. There's no longer those wars of attrition shooting at shield barriers for 20 minutes, but the tanks have more of a chance of dying to diabetes than anything else. Well, unless your Anna was using controller. Fucking stand still! Jesus Christ, I'm no Lee Harvey Oswald!
Bro, I'm standing still.
Teamfights are a lot more sporadic, and it feels like you're always having a meaningful impact on the game. Well, most of the time. I contribute in morale, not kills, okay? That's how I roll. And just in general, there's a ton of small changes that make Overwatch play better than it ever has. Like how Bastion now has a hat. But as everyone has already said, it's no sequel. I mean, if this is considered a sequel, Call of Duty should have 20 Nobel Peace Prizes by now for sheer innovation. So wait, what's changed?
Isn't it obvious, silly?
No?
The time of day, of course.
No, please don't. Please.
There's a few more maps, heroes, some visual upgrades, and a new game mode, and they're all okay. The maps are made with the quality you expect from Overwatch, with smart level design built around the heroes and game modes, whilst being visually distinct and packed with personality. Well, apart from this map, I don't know what it is, but this map gave me the entire alphabet of hepatitis. That quality carries across to the new heroes, Kiriko, Sojourn and Junker Queen, with them all being fun to play, with the usual easy to pick up and hard to master design. I will point out something though, this is the third Australian in Overwatch. What the fuck do they think happens in Australia? The new game mode where both teams push a robot towards each other's base isn't anything groundbreaking, and is a pretty risk averse game mode to add, but I do think it works pretty well, allowing for constant great back and forths that never rule out big comebacks, as long as your team doesn't trickle in, which the run back on heroes that lack movement abilities can sometimes be tedious. Mate, what the fuck? Am I playing Death Stranding? It doesn't feel drastically different, but it ends up being a fun change, and I'm intrigued to see how they develop the game mode with new maps. The context to why these superheroed individuals are escorting a random robot to a random wall to push that wall to a random building, I honestly have no fucking idea. Probably something to do with the cartel. I mean, why else would a hamster be committing war crimes? They're all decent additions, but again, it all feels like a big update rather than anything sequel worthy. Not to mention, they stopped content updates on Overwatch 1 a while back so they could work on the sequel, meaning a lot of this content would have probably been added to Overwatch 1 anyways. And even Bastion's hat was clearly asking too much, because you couldn't even play Bastion for a few weeks at launch because they broke him. Was this the hat's fault? Possibly. Hats are quite intensive. Plus, they broke Torbjorn and May. How? But hey, at least it's free now, and with that change a battle pass and expanded shop was added to replace the loot box progression, which was met with a more than positive reception, and everyone was happy.
No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction.
I lied. Now battle passes are already generally disliked, but Christ, when it's this bad, no coins, filler emotes, underwhelming skins, and just pure shite, you have people singing for loot boxes like they're the second coming of Christ. Now believe it or not, I think a battle pass can work quite well as a progression system for games that progression works around cosmetics, but barely any games ever get it right, and this is shite. It's already difficult for a hero shooter to get a battle pass right, because, well, most people only stick to a small rotation of characters, which is only further cemented with role queue. So most people who get the battle pass might only ever use a few skins, if any. And trust me, 90% of the other stuff is pure koala shite. So the skins are the only attractive thing about this battle pass. I mean, have you seen Winston? And, well, the new heroes. They can only be obtained through grinding the free battle pass for a ridiculous amount of time, or buying it. In a hero shooter where switching heroes to counter the enemy's team was a core element of the gameplay, locking characters behind this, that's just pay to win with a few extra steps. And on the topic of value, even just adding an earnable currency into the battle pass would go a long way into making this a little less shite. Because that way, even if the battle pass didn't have many skins of heroes you played, you could could still grind out the currency and get the next Battle Pass for free. It's honestly like they've just copied Fortnite's Battle Pass, looking at why it works, and then proceeded to do everything but that. Also, they're literally charging 20 quid for single skins in a first person hero shooter. Sure, the game's free now, but that is attempted murder. When a game goes free to play, it's not out of the goodness of their hearts. The Lumbago is free, doesn't mean he's got good intentions. Games go free because they can make more money. It's good that it's free, but it doesn't mean they have to be grade A wankers about it. And the predatory nature of it just makes older loyal players feel cheated. They've gotten a small update to a game they bought and have been playing for years. Skins they could have earned for free a few months back, well now they have to pay 20 quid for. And now all progression is tied to monetization, which makes the game feel less rewarding. And the end of games just aren't as satisfying as they used to be, as it's just to play the game and the most underwhelming XP bar ever. There's no longer that excitement of getting your next loot box, and the removal of the showcase medals at the end of the game just sucks, as they were always a cool way to highlight plays that won't make it to those play of the games. Plus, the buzz of seeing your competitive rank at the end of each game now isn't there. You've got to win 7 games before you can see anything, which makes you just feel so much more detached from your rank. I think there's positives to this, like how losses don't feel as crushing, but it just feels like you're rolling the dice every 7 wins, rather than a ladder you're trying to climb. Also, to touch on the removal of medals again, this was to reduce toxicity, which leaves me 10 shades of flabbergasted, because they added a fucking scoreboard, which completely goes against the game's original philosophy of not having a scoreboard to reduce toxicity and make the focus on wins rather than who had the highest damage numbers. But to be fair, it has opened the chat to classics such as tank diff, DPS diff, tank diff, and last but not least, tank diff. The removal of an overall rank sucks too. Even though it means nothing other than having a cool border, it's nice to have something to show for your hours played. But no, fuck you, blue border it is, and well, we'll probably monetize this next season. If you don't like Overwatch, none of these changes or additions are likely to change your opinion on it. Well, unless you like hats. As someone who loved Overwatch back when it came out and got so many hours of fun from playing it, well, probably 16. The other 1,000, well, we don't talk about them.
Cal, don't worry. Everything's gonna be alright.
It's worthwhile to play again, but it's underwhelming. I'd say disappointing, but it was kind of obvious that this was going to be a glorified update. I mean, everyone was calling it Overwatch 1.5, even when they were showing the new stuff. It's just sad to think what this could have been, whether that was a brand new experience built from the ground up, or even just launching with the actual main selling point. This was their chance. Overwatch built up this hype for an update, and they've just made loyal players feel cheated and taint new players' impressions on the game. It's still a super well made game that when playing and coordinating with the team can have peaks like no other. But this isn't because it's a good sequel, it's because that solid core, that already existed. But I don't know man, some people care about their mental health, the others, well they play Overwatch.